Hi, my name is Sunny Parati. I live in Sedona, Arizona. I grew up in Arizona, down in Phoenix, and I wouldn't say I'm from Sedona. I've only lived here about a year and a half, and I was diagnosed with cervical cancer in June of 2024. So that was last summer, and it was quite a shock, and it was totally surreal, and I really wasn't having any symptoms. I went in for a women's wellness visit and they found it. And I remember when I got the results, I actually got the results from, the lab emailed me before the doctor called me. And I was at work, and I work at a church, and I thought I shouldn't look at this while I'm at work. And it was like a super busy time too. And I was like, I have to look at this. I can't go on with my day. So I opened it, and then I had to Google all the words because I didn't know what it meant, of course. And I realized this is I have maybe a little bit of cancer, and still didn't quite understand it, but I was like, okay. And I went in the church, and I sat there for a moment, and I was like, okay. And I was looking up at Jesus there, and the thought that came to me was, this is going to suck, but God's going to make good of it. So I was like, okay, all right. And the next 4 months was like a roller coaster of crazy emotion and confusion. I hadn't even had a cold in like over 3 years. I was so healthy. Um, and to navigate all of that, I praise God, I'd never had to go through all this health stuff. And navigating the insurance company and the doctor's visits and the appointments and all these tests. And I mean, they're asking me, where's your pharmacy? I don't have a pharmacy. Who's your primary care doctor? I don't have a primary care doctor. Where do you go for labs? I don't. I felt like just a total out of place kindergartner trying to learn all of that, added to the stress of, I have cancer. What? Like, just nuts. Never, I was never prepared for this. Um, so that was 4 months. I did end up getting three different opinions, and I'm very happy I did. I'm so grateful I did not go with the first place I went. I really felt like I dodged a bullet. So I would say number one piece of advice there is get three opinions. Go ahead, keep looking around. I mean, unless you start at City of Hope, then you're good. Save yourself the time and the headache and the heartbreak, and just go to City of Hope, because there, everyone was incredible. They came up with a completely different treatment plan than the first two places had told me, which was shocking at first. But then, they explained to me why, and in very nice terms that I could understand and didn't make me feel like an idiot. I really appreciated that. And everyone there is just the most joyful. Everyone's so joyful. Most joyful people on the planet. I was like, I want to work here now because everyone's wonderful. So that really made my treatment so much better. I can't emphasize that enough. I really was supported by City of Hope the whole time. I still am being supported by them. And I also I have a fantastic support group. I have a very, very loving husband. I have some amazing besties who, we've been besties since we were kids, and they came through, and my family, and just people at work. And I've really felt so loved in all of this. And I think that was something that was hard for me to accept, was that I was loved. So a few weeks after I was diagnosed, I finally told my family, once I had a little bit of a handle on things, not really, but anyway, I thought I was ready to tell my family. And one of my nephews, he's in his early 20s, and he's been battling cancer for a few years now. And he called me and he said, Aunt Sunny, I just want to tell you, it's not your fault. And I lost it. I'm still losing it. I was like, how do you know I was thinking that? And he said, just say your prayers and take your medicine and live your life. And I was like, how are you so wise for, he's like 22. I was like, what? But that I have had that advice going through my head the whole time. I mean, it's not your fault. Just, say your prayers, take your medicine and live your life and don't get caught up in all the other shoulda, coulda, wouldas and or how things are going to go. And so that was also very good advice. So my treatment ended up being was originally the first two places I went recommended a hysterectomy, which I just wanted to make sure that was the best option for me. It's a big deal, obviously. And when I got to City of Hope, they said no, that could cause bigger problems later, and your tumor's too big for that. So we're going to do this chemo and radiation combo. And while I was relieved that I didn't have to have a hysterectomy, I thought, well, now what am I getting into? I don't really know. And again, I was raised someone that it's like we don't go to doctors, we don't take medicine. We take herbs and vitamins and get exercise and that sort of thing. And so this was, I mean, I struggle to take a Tylenol, and I'm like, I'm going to sign up for chemo. But again, just the way that they presented everything, and I really felt like I was in the right place. I was, and my husband and I both agreed, like, okay, yeah, it's not going to be fun, but I think this is the best option. It also meant I was going to have to stay near this cancer center, which is a couple hours from my house. So I had to stay there. I wouldn't be able to stay at home, which was, also difficult, but allowed for, I a lot more just how do I say, like creating community within the treatment. I had this whole plan that I walked in my first day. I mean, I showed up at that hotel with my big keyboard, electronic piano. I had 6 books I was going to read. This online course I had signed up for a few months before and didn't get to finish. Okay, I'm going to do that. I had so many. I was going to sign up for pottery classes and painting classes and da 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 da. It was going to be a little sabbatical for me. I was basically going to go to treatment and go to classes and stay in my hotel room and do all these fun, creative things. And by the 4th day, it was a mess. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't think straight. I really couldn't even read anymore because I couldn't focus on the page. I would read a paragraph and didn't know what I had read. And it was frustrating, but I had to laugh and go, okay, well, God threw all those plans away. And so I would just go to the center and hang out and just like, who can I talk to? And I would stop and talk to people, and maybe I'd make a little whatever craft was going on. And it was so funny because I feel like yes, I'm a highly productive person and I'm very resourceful, and I really don't like sitting around. And it felt like a lot of sitting around. But like, praise God, everyone there was so patient. So many of the other patients too that I connected with who have been there a lot longer, and I just listening to their stories, or those who are in remission and now volunteer. The volunteers are amazing, and it was such a lovely time to connect with other hurting human beings. I've never had that opportunity before. Well, I guess I have when I was a missionary, like 15, 12 years ago, long time ago. But it's been a long time when I was like, this is what I have to do right now. I don't have anything else to do. This is what I have to do. Just be human and let everyone else be human. And that was amazing. It really was. That really opened me up for a lot more compassion and a lot of humility. I have been very humbled in this, and even just recognizing all the places in my life that I was very prideful. That's been a real gift too, I think. So yeah, while I was in treatment too, I definitely experienced chemo brain. And I didn't know what chemo brain was until about 4 days after I started experiencing it. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking, but then again, to find that like solidarity with other people who were also experiencing it and know that no, we're not going crazy. It's a thing and it's okay, and we will be fine later. And I know having to this support group, I mean, my friends would come all often too and just stay with me. And, it was okay that I didn't want to go out to eat, or I wanted to go to sleep at 8 o'clock or something like that. And that was, again, it was so loving. I felt so loved. And emotionally, again, I had a great support system, but it was still up and down all the time. And I had to be okay being on that roller coaster. Um, First I tried to fight it and it's like, no, I gotta be positive. I gotta be positive all the time. And it's like, no, I don't. I don't. You don't have to be positive all the time. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna suck. Parts of it are gonna suck. And there's gonna be beauty that you weren't expecting. The main theme throughout this whole thing is this is not what I expected. So I did chemo and radiation was like 7 weeks. They did it at the same time with me, which that's not, for everybody, but that seemed to work okay with me. I would say on treatment days, I felt really good, and I realized it was, because of they give you stuff to feel good. And the day after was always, okay, this is my good day. And then it would, you'd come down and you're tired. You're just tired and weak. And I realize now as I'm in recovery, trying to improve my posture again, because I felt like so many times my arms were too heavy. I just couldn't sit up straight. Um, but again, there was always plenty of support there. I didn't have to worry about getting things done so much. I did try to work part-time remotely. I wouldn't recommend that. uh, my boss was extremely patient and understanding, and I ended up stopping working. So I think, again, if I would have changed something, it would have been not working at all and just let myself be in that moment. So when I finished treatment, it was right before Christmas. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to still take a few weeks and have a very, very low key Christmas. We visited my family and I didn't bake. I was so proud of myself actually for saying no to these things that I always go overboard with. It really made me appreciate everyone else's decorations and cookies more. And we were totally fine without the decorations. It was still Christmas. Jesus was still being born, all the good stuff. We were still getting together with family and friends. So that was good. And then after New Year's, I did go back to work. And again, probably could have waited longer for that. The recovery, actually, a friend sent me something that Princess Kate had said. She's also in remission. She's in remission, and she said, "What about this recovery?" She says, "You finish treatment, and you think, okay, hey, full schedule again, ready to go on with my life, and then the wrong word comes out of your mouth, and then and I was like, oh, she gets me. She totally gets me. It's so true." And especially, you would think she's got absolutely the best care and someone standing by to make fresh beet juice for her whenever she wants it and doesn't really have to take care of herself. Um, but so that has been a challenge for sure. I have been struggling in this first few weeks back to work. I'm even considering stopping working again and giving myself that permission and knowing that that's fine. I don't know what to expect because this is something I've never done. And it's also different for everybody. And I've talked to a lot of people who have been through this, and they will all tell you the same thing: take care of yourself. And maybe I didn't know what that meant before. And so I'm learning that now. And at one point, too, I think the first week I was back to work, I was having a little mini meltdown and said to my husband, like, "You think I'm a baby?" And he said, "I don't think you're a baby." And then I realized, oh, I think I'm a baby. Okay. No one else thinks I'm being a baby. I think I'm being a baby. And then I thought, great, be a baby. Be a baby. Let people take care of you. Like, you can not be an adult for a little while and then go back to it, and it's okay. And again, this is unexpected. This is totally new territory. And yes, this sucks, but God is making good of it, just like He promised. I see so many miracles. I see so much emotional and spiritual growth in myself. Like, while my body and my mind are struggling, I have had a serious yeah, emotional and spiritual growth. And I appreciate the people around me so much more now. And I appreciate the hope that City of Hope gave me, and that the people around me and other survivors have given me. And that is definitely my word for the year, is hope. Hope is my word for the year. And I went back to the center a couple weeks ago for a follow-up, and it was funny how excited I was to go back. My husband was excited about the food because the food there is great too. He was like, "Great, we can go run out to lunch." But I was so happy to see everyone who works there, you know, the ladies at the reception, ladies in the radiation, all the, you know, and it was just like, oh, hi, how are you? And it's, yeah, if I lived closer, I'd be volunteering there all the time. I know it. And yeah, it's just been a wonderful, I've heard people say they're grateful that they got cancer. Like they're happy they did. I'm not there yet. I think it's still too raw for me, and I'm still really in recovery. So I'm not there yet, but I can see and I can feel all the good that God has done in this, and I'm amazed by that. I really am, and I'm more grateful for everything.